Good evening, everyone. It's 5 o'clock, and I'd like to call the Stanton City Council work session of February 12th, 2026 to order. Is there a motion to appoint an acting city clerk?
Mayor, there should not be.
I apologize. I put that in the
Yeah.
wrong place. Thank you. I'm sorry. We'll move on to item 1. I will entertain a motion to approve the work session and regular meeting agendas.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt the work session and regular meeting agendas as presented.
Thank you, Councilor Overholter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilor, is there any discussion about that motion? No. Okay, Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell. Aye. Mr. Shepherd. Aye. Vice Mayor Arrowood.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Item number 2. We will have a presentation on the Augusta County Military Memorial, The Garden That Heals. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to introduce David Zimmerman, who is here representing the Augusta County Military Memorial. And he will update City Council on the Veterans Memorial and Garden that is being planned to be on the Augusta County Government Complex in Verona. He'd like to provide some information about it and answer any questions that you have. So thank you, Mr. Zimmerman, for being here this evening.
You're quite welcome, and thank y'all for having us, and I'm honored here to be with y'all tonight or this evening and talk to you. I'm a county boy. I grew up in Calf Mountain and went to Wilson. But my sister and her husband and his big family lived here in Staunton for many, many, many years. And if I said their name, you'd know it, and that was Cachapalia.
Uh-huh.
And Jim and Janie, of course, one of the few that I know of that learned Italian while she was married. So I thought that was pretty good on her part. The Augusta County Military Memorial, we started working on this about 4 years ago. It basically started out talking. I think I've been to y'all's board for a couple times just to give you a heads up what's going on and all that. But we reached that stage where we got to make some decisions. And this came about today because I called or emailed Ms. Beauregard and asked her about what seal y'all would like to put. We're going, as I described this to you, and you see the pictures on the roadside where everybody's going down to the new courthouse. We're going to have the seals of Waynesboro, Staunton, and Augusta County. So they'll know whose memorial it is. But the reason for this, and I know most of y'all are probably aware of this, Augusta County has got an illustrious history of military service. Started out in 1741. Y'all know that John Lewis, that name I know rings a bell with you, was in the Augusta militia. And he was actually the first sheriff of Augusta County also. So starting out there, they've made movies about us, but I didn't see any did not see any acknowledgement in it at all about the Augusta militia. The last one I think was The Patriot, where Mel Gibson, a lot of drama, of course, but the last battle scene, Cowpen, Augusta militia was there and Augusta militia fought. So we go back. We fought in a lot of battles during the Revolutionary War. Cowpens, the first action of the Augusta militia was at Falcon Falls, and 7 men died at that battle. And I believe that was with the French and Indians, but I don't think it was with the Brits. Nowadays, the Augusta militia is called the 116th Regiment. So we've evolved. Right now, the Stonewall Brigade, which is named after this area, is in Finland. And so we got a very illustrious history of military service. So you and I can get up at these meetings and tell folks what we think. within reason, of course. But the bottom line is, there's a lot of Stountonians that have lost their, well, I won't say a lot, but there's quite a few that have lost their life in service to this great community in Augusta County and Waynesboro. And was one of the first one was probably in World War II was Jacob March. Mr. March served in the Doolittle raid that hit Japan right after they attacked Pearl Harbor. So again, our history goes back. I don't want, gotta get this the right way. And our mission is to preserve the legacy of those citizens of Augusta County, Waynesboro, and Staunton who served in the United States military. That's what our mission is at our memorial. And the land, if you can see in the background there, that's where the new courthouse construction area was, and it's just a stone's throw away from where the courthouse is, where our memorial is. Thousands of people will see it, and I'm just so honored to be part of it. Along with Jay Hanger and Steve Broderick, both of them are veterans, and they help on our committee, so we appreciate that greatly. We've gone, y'all know y'all got a nice map out front about the size of Augusta County. We believe there's around, this figure is gradually growing. So it's around 5,000 who were killed in action or died because of their injuries when they came home. Right now, we have, this figure is about a year old, but we have about 5,000 living in Augusta County veterans, and we have about another 2,000 live in Staunton and another 1,500 to 1,700 that live in Waynesboro. So we got a lot of veterans that live in this area. We have some memorials to them too, as you know, the Avenue of Trees. We got a nice monument that the kids did at the old military hospital, which, to let you give you another little anecdote, Desmond Doss, who was a Medal of Honor winner, was treated at that hospital. And I actually, we used to talk about the old Quonset huts that were there. They had blackout tunnels underneath. And we figured there's about, at least still probably, if there's any of them left there, there's probably 3 or 4 kids still walking down underneath that, trying to get their way out. Staunton National Cemetery. We've got Augusta Military Academy, Staunton Military Academy was here. We've got the Mary Baldwin Cadet Corps, and we got the 29th Museum that was put together by Ted Chewy and his crew down there, honoring our National Guard legacy that we have here in Augusta and Staunton. Now, we have some great memorials, but we do not have one in Augusta County. We have some at the funeral, I'm sorry, not at the funeral, but at the cemeteries. We have some, they have one at the Ridgeview Park in Waynesboro. We have one in the Staunton Cemetery honoring our soldiers, but there was no place for someone to come and honor their buddies in quiet and peacefulness, to maybe talk to them, or families come and talk about their dads or moms or whomever it might be in service or deployed at the present time. I stuck the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier up there, and it'll become evident in a minute, just to get back to a friend of mine, Raymond Carrier, who some of you may know. He's a VFW leader. Raymond and I go back and forth. Of course, he was Army and I was Air Force. And actually, I'm in that picture down there on the end on the right side. So one of the few pictures I saved from when I was in service. So I am honored to be here representing them. Now, I gave y'all a packet, but this packet that I gave y'all is what we give to our corporate folks that want to donate to us. I'm not here asking you for money. I mean, we're going to need a lot, but the bottom line is, I'm not here tonight. I want you to know that this memorial is for everybody, for Staunton, Waynesboro, and Augusta County, but it's Augusta County because of the land area, the geographic area. It's located again, there's the construction. You'll see it. It's a patch of ground there near the new courthouse, and also it's near the county building. So folks can come and go as they please. If they want to honor their vets, there will be, let me get into it a little bit further down. We're talking, there's the different museums. These figures here are a fairly true representation other than the first one. That should be 200,000 instead of 100,000. The granite alone, I understand it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $160,000 just for the monument. So we had to put the dog on a little bit. Forgive my Appalachian talk, but the bottom line is we got an $80 million courthouse there. And I can't say that too often because every now and then when I say it in front of Timmy Fitzgerald, he kind of cringes a little bit. So, and y'all know that feeling, I'm sure. But we're honored to have this great monument there. And again, this is an overview picture, a 3D picture of it. And the granite will be, forgive the two, well, I don't see a challenge with it, but the two American flags, the landscape guy couldn't find a Virginia flag in his repertoire of flags, so he just put two American flags up there. We're going to there's a bunch of Bradford pears there, trees. We're going to take them down and put up dogwoods, make it look a little bit prettier. And it's going to be a place of sanctuary for those who come and honor their family, their vets and their family and things of that nature. As you walk in, there's some benches. As you can see, if someone wants to stay there, you keep going down the center and we get to a Pentagon. Now, it's for obvious reasons, it's a Pentagon shape because of the attack on Virginia on 9/11. We've got a soldier's cross in the middle, and I'm pretty certain y'all know what a soldier's cross is. And then the monuments. The monuments, the reference to the county and the cities are on the center one facing toward the road. So that's where your seal will be. Here's another view. We kind of like the idea of the pergola because it lets people know they're entering in a different spot. Another view. We got a knee wall that goes around it. And I figured sometime there may be some people coming out of the courthouse that weren't very happy. So we better put a knee wall up there in case they get a little erratic with their driving. We don't want them to hit those monuments. And again, another picture. We've got a website. You'll see it on the brochure you have in front of you. That's one of our most recent brochures. We've got a lot of folks that's interested in it, a lot of Staunton folks that are interested in it. So if y'all got any questions, or I need to cover something else, and this is Raymond's picture to the left there, as you Raymond and Tom both are combat vets. Jay is a combat vet. And they get all my envy that I have to offer, because the fact is that I was headed to Vietnam and they brought me back the last minute and sent me to Washington, D.C. And being the first 2 weeks I was in Washington, D.C., I seen 2 homicide detectives get killed and hit with a car after they shot them and dragged about 200 feet. So not the same kind of combat, but there was still combat in Washington, D.C. And Raymond watched 2 of his friends close friends die right in front of him. And that's why we have a memorial. So we can honor all those fellers and ladies that died. 8 nurses died in Vietnam. World War II, I think it was about 111,000 Virginians who died. Can't give you the exact number. But we've got citizens that are still missing in action, and it's probably because of the way they died that they're missing in action. I think that's it. Yeah. Is
Mr.
there-
Zimmerman, I really like your tagline, the garden that heals. Did you come up with that or what?
Yes, ma'am, we did. It's a lady in our group, Jennifer Cook, who actually you know how you work around with phrases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But initially Jennifer was the one that brought it up. And we're just so blessed. We got put it in a modern word, we've got a potpourri of people on our committee from, non-veterans and veterans. We got a preacher, we got a general, we got, people that stop by quite often to see what we're up to and help us out with what we're doing. So I kind of went off a little bit on the saying that specifically, but that's how I came out with it.
Right. Well,
We-
we've seen the same reaction at the wall in Washington DC, that folks go there and it's quite moving
Well,
as a moment of healing. Yeah.
I don't want to tell tales out of school, but the bottom line is I spent most of my career in the Air Force was spent, and it was only a couple years rather. And it was spent doing funerals at Arlington for the Vietnam folks mainly that came back. And it was a little disconcerting going back there. I went back for a funeral. One of my neighbors, Scott Dayton, his family owned a house near me down on the eastern shore of Virginia. And Scott was killed. He was a first soldier that was killed in Syria. So it was kind of hard to go back, even though it was going to honor him. Any other questions or?
I may have missed this, but did you say were people's names on these panels or?
We're going to utilize the ones from the courthouse, since they have got a historical basis for them. And we're going to have what, my word as an old landscaper, pavers that have the people can actually, to help
Oh, I
us
see.
to build it. We're going to have pavers in there. So if you have a family member that you want to honor there in Augusta County and you're from Augusta County or you live here in Augusta County now, you'll have access to doing that. So, and we have, pretty much an insurmountable task of trying to find out. A good friend of mine, Jeff Felton, some of y'all might know him. He's a researcher and he is checking in. Do you know there was a millsap here in Augusta County back in the day around John Lewis's time. His son left here and went to North Carolina. His boy, who was, of course, the grandson of the guy that was here in Augusta County, went on to Mississippi and then he went to the Alamo. He's one of the men that died at the Alamo. Our connection, Augusta County's connection to the Alamo. I often say that we have a lot of cousins in Texas because people left here and went to Texas, but there's 15 more names of Virginians that were there that died. And Mr. Felton we're trying to figure out if they are from this area. So that's another thing. We just got so much of this history. It's mind-boggling. And so we're going to try to delve into all of it and see what we can come out with.
Ms. Boberad, is there anything that we need to direct or anything we need to let you know, Mr. Zimmerman, before we?
The only
wrap up your
thing, think about I presume that you would use your normal seal.
Well, we'll get that to you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
y'all figure that out. anything that we can do to help y'all, give you a recent example. If you have veterans that have challenge, our site is not going to be a passive memorial. In other words, we're not just going to put up a memorial and say, hey, here we are. Here's a memorial, come see it. We're involved with the Department of Veteran Services. We're involved with Salute in Waynesboro, the Legion Post 13 here in Staunton, and also Post 340 in Waynesboro. It's going to be active. So if you're a veteran, you can go into our website and determine if you need any of those services, and you can go right straight to them to learn what you need to learn. And we're excited about that. We're excited about the fact that we're going to try to use some, this is way over on my pay grade, but QR codes and stuff like that eventually in phases 2 or 3, and try to help with all that we're doing.
Well, if there are
Thank
no
you.
further questions from counselors, I will just thank you very much, Mr. Zimmerman, Mr. Broderick, and Mr. Hanger for coming this evening and sharing your dream of the
Well,
memorial with us.
Thanks for having us. There is one other thing I want to do, and that is, I normally do this because I carry a
Oh.
challenge coin. I'm not gonna get into the fact that what a challenge coin is there for, but I want you to keep it and remember it. What this one says on the back, what a veteran does. And I want y'all to have one. And I see the chief is back here. Thank you. Just a little reminder of what veterans do for us and our military do for us. So thank you again for having us.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to working with you.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be notifying y'all every time we're going to have our groundbreaking, we hope, in early spring. And then we're trying to tie in with July. Just depends on, it takes the granite a good little time to get here. So we're trying to tie that into July. Since the country 250, Augusta County is 285 or thereabouts. We want to take advantage of that if we can. If you know of any grants or anything of that nature anywhere, give us a holler, because we'll.
Will do. Thank you, sir, very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Yes.
This is going to take us to item 3, our final item of the work session. I will entertain a motion to enter a closed session.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I move to enter a closed meeting for 1, consultation with legal counsel, the Staunton City Attorney, regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice concerning a potential agreement with the Staunton Redevelopment and Housing Authority and the operations of the Staunton Police Department pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8, and 2, discussion of a prospective business where no previous announcement has been made of the business's interest in locating in the vicinity of Frontier Drive in the city of Staunton pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A5.
Thank you. Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion about this motion? All right, Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Mr. Overholtzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd. Aye. Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. We are now in closed session. I hope to see you all back at 7 p.m. this evening. Thank you for being here. I will now entertain a motion to reconvene in an open meeting.
Madam Mayor,
Vice Mayor Arrowood.
I move the council reconvene in an open meeting and certify to the best of each member's knowledge that only lawfully exempted public business matters were discussed and that only public business matters as identified in the closed meeting motion were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion about the motion? Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd. Aye. Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Carries.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call the February 12th, 2026 regular meeting of the Stanton City Council to order. Please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I just want to start by wishing everyone a wonderful Black History Month. And secondly, to invite Mr. Campbell to share his invocation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to talk about something that no one wants to hear about, and that's winter weather. The recent winter storm event was a tremendous challenge for all of us due to the type of precipitation we received and the extreme cold that followed. Our staff are currently reviewing the city's response to get a better understanding of what worked, what didn't, and what lessons are learned to be better prepared for the future. This review will be shared and discussed at a future city council meeting, but tonight I wanted to take this opportunity to truly thank all of our emergency response personnel for their days, and that's days of continual and exhausting efforts to get life back to normal as quickly as possible for our city and its citizens. From our public works, parks and rec, and city school crews, and our first responders who were out there in the conditions doing the heavy lifting, to our administrative and communications teams coordinating the efforts and keeping us informed. Truly, thank you. These types of challenges can also bring out the best of our community in working together to support each other, especially those members of our city that are at most at risk of life-threatening winter weather conditions. Many of these community efforts go unnoticed simply due to their nature. Therefore, I also wanted to take this opportunity to recognize one of those such efforts. Michelle Edwards took charge in coordinating and delivering an emergency shelter with the help of Central United Methodist Church, community leaders, and countless volunteers as an additional resource to make sure our city had the capacity to support our unhoused population. So thank you, Michelle, and to everyone who worked together to make that possible. Even as a temporary measure, it enforces this critical need and provides a blueprint for what a more permanent solution could look like for our community moving forward. And finally, on a more somber note, I just want to close with a moment of silence for Charlie Taylor, an 11-year-old 6th grade Shelburne Middle Schooler who tragically passed due to a sledding accident the week before last. Let us all continue to keep Charlie's family and friends in our thoughts. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Campbell. I also want to thank Councilor Campbell for having spent the night at the shelter one evening. And Councilor Woods came in and provided some donations, as did Vice Mayor Arrowood. It was a very wonderful collaborative event, and it just was wonderful to see people pull together for those less fortunate in our community. For my mayor's report this evening, I'm going to do something that is new for me. And I want to use my time to address concerns about the safety of newcomers from other countries who live in or visit our city. We understand the concerns of residents of Staunton, and we share the deep alarm many feel about how immigrants and at times bystanders are being treated by federal law enforcement agents under the direction of Washington. There have been requests for the city to adopt a resolution, as other cities have done, We want to be honest about our concern that at this moment, such a resolution may be largely symbolic rather than protective, especially for people who may never see it or who may not trust it. Let's be mindful that immigrants are not a monolith. They differ by country of origin, age, language, immigration status, length of time in the United States, education, employment, and level of integration into our community. Acting on behalf of such a complex population requires humility, listening, and care. This does not mean that we as a council are unaware, disengaged, or indifferent. It means we are focused on what we feel helps those who may be too afraid to act. What is happening in Staunton is sustained grassroots outreach. This work, consistent and relational, is how trust is built and how people begin to feel safer accessing services. We want to be clear. Everyone in Staunton, regardless of status, can access emergency services. Any 911 call will be responded to professionally and safely. All residents may use city resources, libraries, schools, parks, and facilities safely. At the same time, we must be honest about legal realities. Local law enforcement cannot interfere with a lawful arrest supported by a judicial warrant. However, if there is unlawful entry into a home or damaged property, a resident can and should call the police. Staunton Police Department does not have and has never had a cooperative agreement with federal immigration enforcement. We do not hold detainees on behalf of federal immigration authorities. We will continue to prioritize actions that build trust, meet immediate needs, and protect the dignity and safety of vulnerable people, not just in words, but in practice. We also truly appreciate the caring community members who are supporting and looking out for their friends and neighbors every day. Thank you very much. Are there any? Thank you. I also want to recognize a member of our school board, Fontella Bundy Brown is here this evening. Thank you, Ms. Bundy Brown, for being here. Who else? I'd like to recognize Sheriff Hartless and Deputy McFarland. Thank you for being here. Got to put my glasses on. Any other comments from city council members? If we have no more items from city council, we'll go on to item A, the consent agenda.
Michelle.
Mayor Edwards.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Counselor Woods.
I was waiting to
It was-
see if anybody else wanted to say.
Oh, okay. Yes, Counselor Woods, what would you like to share with us?
The nominations committee appointments. I move that the Stanton City Council appoint Sheba Lane to the Stanton Redevelopment and Housing Authority for a 4-year term commencing March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2030. Reappoint Tracy Toy to the Stanton Redevelopment and Housing Authority for a 4-year term commencing March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2030. Reappoint Randolph Burton and Coy Hurd to the Lewis Creek Watershed Advisory Board for 3-year terms commencing on March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2029. Reappoint Bart McDowell to the Landscape Advisory Board for a 3-year term commencing on March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2029. Reappoint Maggie Reagan to the Shenandoah Valley Airport Commission for 3-year term commencing on March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2029. Reappoint Joy Ingram to the Social Services Advisory Board for a 4-year term commencing on March 1st, 2026 and ending February 8th, 2030. And appoint Jeff Bender and Stephanie Mason to the Youth Commission for 3-year terms commencing on March 1st, 2026 and ending February 28th, 2029. And I just want to commend those that have put in applications for our boards and commissions. And I do encourage you to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Woods. We do not need a second, so we will go for a roll call. Mr. Blair?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd. Aye. Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park. Wait, Vice, Vice Mayor Arrowood.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Thank you, Counselor Woods. And thank you to the whole nominations committee for that work. Moving on to item A, the consent agenda. Per procedure memorandum number 14, it is the policy of City Council to have routine, non-controversial items placed on the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be voted on in one motion. If separate discussion of an item is requested by any member of council, that item shall be removed and considered separately at the end of the regular meeting agenda. Do any council members wish to remove any items and have them placed at the end of the regular meeting agenda? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mayor Edwards, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd. Aye. Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Moving on to item B, a public hearing and consideration of a request by Stuart Armstrong to rezone 912 West Beverly Street from R4 High Density and Residential District to B5 Mixed Use Business District Conditional. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, Tim Hartless, Senior Planner, will introduce this item this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Hartless, and welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. This is a request by Stuart Armstrong to rezone 912 West Beverly Street from R4 High Density Residential to B5 Mixed Use Business Conditional. This property is located on the south side of West Beverly Street in the block between Montgomery Avenue and Stafford Streets. It was originally constructed as the Dunsmore Business College, which started operations in the early 1900s and closed in 1977. For a short period thereafter, the building was occupied by the Valley Mission, but has largely been vacant since at least the mid-1980s. The building is approximately 14,136 square feet, and it sits on a lot that is roughly 16,500 square feet. The current R4 zoning of the property allows for a range of residential uses, single-family, two-family, multifamily. The 16,500 square foot lot size allows for up to 7 units. In the R4 district, the number of units or the density permitted on a property is determined by the size of the lot. So this lot would support up to 7 apartments. Over the years, staff has had many different conversations with lots of different developers who were interested in redeveloping this property. But that limit of 7 units, as well as the parking that is necessary or required for 7 units and the lot area needed to construct that parking, has always been really a hurdle that no one has been able to overcome. And as a result of that, this property is sat vacant for at least the last 40 years. The applicant, Mr. Armstrong, proposes to construct low-income multifamily units for seniors. Under the B5 regulations, density is, there is no limit really to density. So the number of units permitted here will be based upon how many parking spaces he can provide. For senior housing, the parking calculation that we use is 1 parking space for every 2 residential units. I will mention that the B5 zoning allows for off-site parking or parking on other properties. But in this particular instance, All of the surrounding zoning is R4, high density residential, and parking is not a permitted principal use in that zoning district. Parking can only be permitted on R4 properties when it serves a use on that same property. So in this case, the offsite parking is not a possibility, and Mr. Armstrong will have to provide all of the required parking on the same property on 912 West Beverly Street. I would point out that the B5 zoning has been in existence for about 4 years, and it allows for any use in our R4 high-density residential districts, as well as any use from our B2 general business districts. Those B2 districts are least restrictive business districts. They have the widest range of permitted uses. Staff has reviewed this request, and staff did raise some concerns with that wide range of business uses that are permitted in the B5 district. This is properties located on, West Beverly. It's a 2-lane street right there on a curve, limited on-street parking, completely surrounded by residential uses, residential properties. It's not a good place for business zoning. So in response to that, to those concerns, the applicant has offered proffers to limit the use of the property, and those proffers would eliminate all of the business uses and limit the use of the property to only those uses permitted in our R4 high-density residential districts. Rezoning is the first step in the process. There will be a site plan required for construction of any parking facility. There will also be a building permit required for redevelopment of the property and the creation of these residential units. Neither the site plan or the building permit can be approved until the applicant can demonstrate to staff that he can provide all of the required parking on the Dunsmore property. City's comprehensive plan, future land use map designates this area as neighborhood residential. These areas are older neighborhoods which are characterized by large housing units on small lots. One of the policies of this designation is to encourage the development of infill housing units that are compatible with the existing facilities and structures. In this case, the existing Dunsmore building is 14,136 square feet, and that is far too large to be used as one single-family dwelling. So the use of this property for multifamily purposes seems to be the most feasible use for the building. Planning Commission held a public hearing at its January 15th meeting. At the public hearing, 2 individuals spoke, citing concerns with limited parking on Anderson Street and the narrow nature of the street in general. Planning Commission voted on 4-0 to unanimously recommend approval of this rezoning request. Our applicant, Mr. Armstrong, is here tonight. Also, Carter Green, the architect for the project, is here. I know that Carter has a brief presentation that he would like to make. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have for me, either now or after the public hearing. I'm sure Carter's happy to answer any questions that you may have for him.
Any questions now, or would you like to wait till after the presentation?
I'd like to see the presentation.
Okay, we'll wait, Mr. Hartless.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll just, for the benefit of the group from the planning commission, I'll just also add that there was, following the concerns shared by some of those residents on Anderson Street, there was a discussion amongst the commission about maybe there were opportunities if a parking issue should arise, monitoring it, and then there might have been some opportunities through some signage or shoulder improvements or pavement markings to improve the parking situation for that really tight space.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Mr. Green, would you like to? And Mr. Stewart. Mr. Armstrong. Yeah, my husband is Wallace Edwards. He gets called
I go by
Edwards
Stu.
Wallace, yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, first, just to say thank you for the consideration tonight. I think
your staff, the technical assistance that's been given about these issues has been profound and appreciated. To give you just a real quick background of who Stu Armstrong is, I'm not a investor developer. I did do a lot of neighborhood revitalization as a nonprofit leader in Charlottesville of 4 different neighborhoods, and we've made some profound differences there. So I came here with that expertise to help. This started in 2005, but to give you I just want to tell you about me for a second. I'm connected to Staunton in a few different ways. I wasn't born and raised here. My dad was a colonel, so we traveled in all sorts of places in the world. But my father went to the Staunton Military Academy here, and then went on to West Point. And then my late wife, Sarah, was the assistant superintendent of schools here. And so coming over to Staunton is as a gem of a city, and to share with, at the time, the CDBG task force and the planning department and the people is how do we get hold of, do a block at a time. So I ended up putting a lot of property under site control, like I did in Charlottesville. My last project there was 27 different pieces of real estate from 13 different owners that we assembled to turn around one of their toughest neighborhoods, and did that very quietly. So when I was involved with your CDBG task force here, I went up, did the same effort here, kind of out of the love for the city and my family and so forth. Thought, oh, this would be really neat to come share what we know. Got involved and ended up putting whatever it was, 9 houses under site control. And then the Dunsmore was the one that stood out. It was so huge compared to all the houses. I didn't ever see that really in Charlottesville. And I used to drive by it all the time when I dropped my wife at some school on the west end of town. And I would see that as an entry corridor. And I told my wife, this is way before I got involved. My God, that wouldn't happen at Charlottesville. It's an entry corridor. Someone's got to do something about that building. So when I was asked to participate in the CDBG thing, it was like, that was the first thing I thought of. And so I bought it out of emotion. But the first thing I did was take the boards off the windows to make it look like it's not a broken window syndrome kind of hurting the neighborhood. And so that's my intention. And just want to say thanks again for your consideration, and I hope you pass it tonight so we can put it into this application process in March and meet that deadline. So, and I've been blessed with some very seasoned professionals.
Go ahead.
Don't know who he is.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Thank you.
My name is Carter Green. I'm the architect for the project, working with Stu and also Nehemiah at the Housing Authority. I thought it would be good to just give you a introduction to the project, and I think I could maybe how to use this. Yeah. Okay. So the goal of the project is an adaptive reuse of vacant historic building into much needed affordable senior housing and to create a new community asset. Tim mentioned the history of the building. It's kind of interesting. It was kind of in support of the coal industry in West Virginia. And I understand that Jake Smith was the most notable alum of the Dunsmore School. Smith transfer for those who still remember. 15, our project program is 15 total senior apartments. There's 2 levels. There's community space on the lower level. We have required parking, which is one of the main challenges that we have. There will be ADA access into the lower level and an elevator inside the building so that the building will be accessible. Trash pickup will be in the rear. There's steps leading into the main entrance on the upper level. So we're creating a catwalk that will provide access onto the upper level from the sidewalk. We will be utilizing low-income historic tax credits along with historic tax credits, and we'll be participating in a green building program as well. Here are floor plans. To the right-hand side is Beverly Street, and to the top of the page, there's a church adjacent to the building. So that's get you oriented, and you can see that there's some of the original Some of the original materials still survive in the building. Here's our plan. You can see there's 8 units in here on the upper level, 1 bedroom. It's needs work. Hasn't really a lot as there's been 40 years of non-maintenance in here, and it's nothing that can't be fixed, but it's going to be a big effort. You can see on the second slide from the right, they have these window walls. You can also see that in the lower right-hand corner. This shows you some of the historic elements that we'll be reusing. It's got on the lower left-hand side, you can see the columns, which are the structure of the building. On the lower level, there's tiers that correspond to the slope of the site. You can see the lines, the vertical lines there, and the steps are showing how that works. It was actually an auditorium space, and what they did was they took out several of the columns from above. We'll take another look at that here in a second. But you can see there's 7 units on this space. There's a central community space, which helps for a number of reasons, and will be primarily for the use of the tenants. You can see these little truss, and you see the little truss things they've used to replace the columns there. And you can see it's a bit of a storehouse at the moment, and it's a little hard to get a good feel for it from these pictures. So here's the exterior. I suppose you all are familiar with this from West Beverly Street. And there's the exterior side. The little parking area does not belong to the Dunsmore. That belongs to the church there that you can see on the left. From the back, you can see our location where we're proposing parking. You can see it's raised up another level from the street. There's retaining walls along Anderson Street. So this is our site plan. We're calling it the Thumb, which Stu purchased from the church a good while ago. And what that has done is given us space to provide a little parking deck. The access you can see on the from the right-hand arrow comes up from Anderson Street and is accessed through an easement on the neighboring property. But you can see there that, we'll be coming up a ramp from the parking deck into the lower level of the building. So that kind of gives you an overview of the project. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Well, I'll say it's really exciting to see something happen with the Dunsmore building. In my time with Habitat for Humanity, Mr. Armstrong was very helpful with many properties with Habitat, and offered us this one for $1. And so I've spent some quality time in this building. After a little while, when you first go in the upper level, you put your arms out to be sure if you fall through the floor that you're going to catch yourself. It has good bones. That truss system downstairs was hard to grasp
Not
exactly what was happening.
We're going to replace the columns.
Okay, yeah, that's good. But it's just great to see a building of this scale, downtown, in the cooperation with Nehemiah, with the housing authority there, and the new B5 zoning is something that makes this possible, because Habitat could not find enough funding to make it happen. And also the parking was a killer in the R4. So B5 makes it a lot more possible, and things like the Staunton steam laundry thing as well. It's letting these things happen, but also to see something like this help fulfill a huge need for affordable housing for seniors in the city, and right in the core as well. And it's great to see you guys' plans for making it accessible, especially in a neighborhood that could use more housing as well. So it's good to see. But do you have? Now I understand there's the possibility of historic, like grant funding, something along those lines, as well as things channeled through. So I'm not sure who I should be asking about this, but are you confident in moving forward on this and on a project that for probably a few generations has been stymied, but I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a great building and I'm happy to see
We're going
it.
to face a lot of challenges and
Yeah.
tonight's just one of them. So,
Yeah. I'm all for it.
um,
Not a question really, so just more of a babbling on.
thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Green?
Yes. I had a question about the parking situation. How many spaces will the parking deck accommodate?
Okay, so you can see on the upper deck there are 8.
Okay,
And with 15 units, and the requirement being 1 for every 2 units, we'll get everything we need on that upper deck.
okay, so there's two levels to the
You know,
deck.
the lower level is currently there's it appears to be the remains of a garage that was there, and we can get a few spaces into there. That you can see on the left-hand side, we're showing 3 spaces there that would be additional to what's required. And so, you know, rather than just have the bare minimum, we have a little bit of extra there in case we need them. And they would be from the Anderson Street level.
Okay. And so would they be covered?
They would be covered by the deck above, right?
Okay. That's very advantageous to senior living.
Sure. Yeah. The only problem with those is they're hard to access the site because they're down a full story down, and we're probably not going to provide that elevator that you're seeing there. We don't think we can afford that.
Right. It's fantastic. The building does have great bones. I agree. So thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate the work and thoughtfulness that has gone into this. I've walked past that building many times. It's just so exciting that this important landmark building in Staunton could be preserved and put to great use for an important need, affordable housing. Mr. Dunsmore, I mean, that it's an important place in the historical legacy of a precursor to the community college system. He was a supporter of women's rights and women's education. So exciting to see that building reused and put to great use. It's a win-win. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Green before we move on to the public hearing? All righty. Thank you, Mr. Green. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Hey. Oh, it's gonna. In a moment, I'll open the public hearing, and this portion of the meeting is set aside for council to hear comments from citizens and others on this specific topic listed on the agenda. This is only for item B. When it's your turn to speak, please begin by stating your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep your remarks to 5 minutes or less. When your 5 minutes have passed, I will let you know that your time has expired. For those joining us on Zoom, please raise your hand now if you wish to speak on this public hearing item. If you speak now, you will also have the opportunity to participate during matters of the public. Once everyone who wishes to speak has had a chance to do so, I will close the public hearing. At this point, if you would like to speak on this item, please approach the podium, and we will alternate between those physically present and those calling in on Zoom. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Mr. Knight, do we have any hands raised on Zoom?
We have no hands raised.
Yes, ma'am. Please approach the podium if you'd like to speak. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jenny Hill. I'm with Habitat. We're excited that there'll be some housing for low-income people. I'm just wondering, because we also have other homes on Anderson that we're involved with, that there's only 8 parking places for 15 residences. Who will decide and how will they enforce that only 8 of them will get parking and that they won't park on streets, sides that residents are using? And also there's a problem with people who park on the street. They're blocking the mailboxes. And so you have to choose whether you want mail that day or you want a parking place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any hands raised on Zoom?
Madam Mayor, we have no hands raised.
Would anyone else like to speak? The public hearing is now closed. And the matter rests with the council. Do we have any more questions for Mr. Hartless, or is anyone, are we ready to make a motion?
I do, Mr. Hartless, would you be able to address the parking on the street concerns?
So the idea in the zoning code is that when you have housing, what they call it, it's called housing for the elderly that's how they term it. But seniors need less parking spaces because there's less seniors that drive. That's why the parking requirement is 1 per every 2 units. So the assumption is that there will be less cars, so they need less parking spaces. As far as parking on the street, we can work with Public Works to look at some of the things that Mr. Campbell had mentioned about maybe widening the shoulder a bit to add some additional parking on the other side of Anderson. Right now, parking is really only on the one side. But if we could figure out a way to broaden the shoulders so that we could have parking on both sides of the street, then it would almost double the on-street parking in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Hartless. Any other questions from council? All righty. Thank you, Mr. Hartless. Oh. Is there a desire to make a motion on this item?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move that Staunton City Council adopt the resolution as presented.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion?
It is an ordinance. It's an ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there any discussion on this ordinance? No. Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. This moves us on to item C, a consideration of an updated work plan for Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Ms. Beauregard.
Yes, Maggie Taylor is here this evening to introduce this item and answer any questions.
Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. I'm here tonight to present the updated 2026 work plan for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, which I will refer to as BPAC. The work plan was last updated in May of 2022, and since then, Staunton has seen significant progress on bicycle infrastructure, including the completion of our first bike routes on West Beverly Street and Churchville Avenue. So the committee feels it is necessary to update their work plan at this point to reflect the projects that have been completed, reaffirm their vision and mission statements, and ensures that the committee is strategically positioned to deliver the greatest impact into the coming years. So the complete updated work plan has been provided in the agenda packet, but tonight I would like to go through and just highlight some of the more significant updates. So first I'll start with the linkages and resources section. This aims to define who the committee should be working with. Really the only change here was to remove references to specific organizations and events that are no longer in operation. And instead it defines the types of organizations, businesses, and community events that the committee should be looking to partner with. So for example, a reference to a specific bicycle shop was removed and instead now says bike or pedestrian related businesses. We believe this ensures that it includes all related businesses, and it also doesn't need to be updated if we get a new business open up. They would already be included in there. Moving on to the goals and objectives section, this is probably where we saw the most meaningful changes. As in the previous plan, though, all goals are in support of the 5 E's from the American League of Bicyclists, which are now education, encouragement, engineering, evaluation and planning, and then equity and accessibility. Several of the goals have been carried over from the last plan, including support for greenways and urban trails, supporting the implementation of the Staunton Bike and Pedestrian Plan, and creating partnerships to advance bicycle and pedestrian opportunities. And as far as highlighting what the new goals in this plan are, The work plan formally positions BPAC as a major stakeholder to provide guidance on the city's upcoming multimodal transportation plan. So this ensures that pedestrian and cycling needs are worked into the broader transit future for the city. The new plan also includes a goal to collaborate with city staff to create a dedicated digital info hub to maintain physical maps at community hubs like the library. It also solidifies BPAC's role in the community as sort of a liaison, participating in community events and promoting the benefits of safe bicycle and pedestrian options. The next section of the plan outlines their top priorities for the committee. These include a focus on safety improvements at Gypsy Hill Park, facilitating community engagement, and supporting plans for bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure through the bike and pedestrian plan and the upcoming multimodal transportation plan. So to conclude, this work plan gives the committee the tools they need to meet cycling and pedestrian goals as new development occurs. The public consistently tells us that they want safe places to walk and ride. This plan is a tool to making those connections safer and more accessible for all residents. That is all I have tonight, but I do want to give a quick shout out to a couple BPAC members in the audience, Mr. Aaron Barber and Mr. Jim Printy. Thank you for being here tonight. But yeah, that's all I have, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
I'm curious with the focus on Gypsy Hill Park, has you gotten to the point, has the BPAC gotten to the point where they're talking about what a typical section could look like in terms of to accommodate cyclists and vehicles? And it's just extremely tight. And even the parking spaces out there don't meet any standards. It's a challenge.
Yeah, that topic's been on the BPAC agenda for a while. I know that we've had some conversations with Parks and Rec. I don't know that we have a plan that specific yet, but some of the major themes they talk about are improving like wayfinding signage, and more facilities like bike racks and fix-it stations and that sort of thing to support. But yeah, it doesn't get down to that level quite yet.
And just one more thing. We've put an emphasis on more funding in the future for new sidewalks and sidewalk repair. It would be great if, I know Public Works has a list of sidewalks that need attention and the money can only go as far as it can, but it would be great to, I guess, make that more public facing in terms of the prioritization process of what we should be focusing on in terms of most important connections, number of users. It would just be great if the BPAC could be part of that process with Public Works to prioritize sidewalk improvements in the future.
That helps us with our funding decisions too. The limited amount of money we have for sidewalk improvements. I totally agree. Plan doesn't seem to acknowledge the merging of the bike and pedestrian plan into the greenways plan, but that, unless I'm mistaken, that is going to be a part of the upcoming comprehensive plan. Is that?
Yes, so the greenways plan will be an appendix to the comprehensive plan. Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying the bike and pedestrian plan, I think it's expressed as a goal in the comp plan that those two will be merged. They'll be part of the same thing.
Yes, I think that maybe that's one of the things that they're going to be looking at with the multimodal transportation plan that might kind of incorporate all of that into one comprehensive plan. Yeah.
And then the timeline, it mentions that it's going to be ready in the next 6 to 9 months for the comprehensive plan, but the comprehensive plan is going to be done in about 3 months. So
that is our hope. Yes.
It's great to see plans come to fruition from the bike and ped committee there. The bike lanes after so many public meetings and evenings, weekends, everything, try to get everybody's word. Then at the end, you see people surprised still. It's hard to get everybody on this, but I just really commend the efforts of that. And it's good to see you guys cleaning this up. The 5 E's from the American League of Bicyclists doesn't seem entirely fair to call evaluation and planning an E, but whatever. So moving forward, though, I mean, this is making our downtown and outer areas as well more safe for bicyclists, for pedestrians as well, too. But along the way, most of these plans are only implemented when there's a restriping or a repaving, right? Just to save costs along the way. Is that correct?
That is, yes, I think so. Whenever possible. yes, if we can save money by doing something like that, then absolutely. Mhm.
All righty. Well, thank you so much. This has been a great update. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the updated work plan for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the 2026 Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee Work Plan. And thank you very much for the work of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Overholzer. Is there a second? Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Contentious.
Is there any discussion on this item, on this motion? Sorry. Then, Mr. Blair, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. Overholzer,
Aye.
Ms. Park,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Arrowood,
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. So our last item on the agenda is entitled Matters from the Public. This is a time that I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Our next item is Matters from the City Manager, Ms. Beauregard. I
have
almost
some-
skipped
I
you.
do have some
The most
matters.
important item on the agenda is,
The one I'm about to say flowed right into what we were just talking about.
oh,
So, speaking of bicyclists and pedestrians, on Wednesday, the 25th, in this room, the Virginia Department of Transportation will host a public hearing in this room from 4 to 6 on the Commerce Road Lewis Creek Greenway project. And this is a chance for residents to see what the initial design of the project will look like and provide VDOT with their feedback. So this proposed project is nearly a mile-long, 10 to 14-foot shared use path along Commerce Road between Greenville Avenue and Statler Boulevard. The present and future traffic volumes can accommodate reducing the travel lanes from 4 to 2 lanes to introduce a wide separate space for walking and cycling. There is a VDOT project webpage with a survey, and we'll make sure we push that out. I don't have that information in front of me, but I'll make sure we push that out. So please check our Facebook page for that. Speaking of the comprehensive plan, because of the snowstorm, the comprehensive plan stakeholder meeting that was designed for the deaf community has been rescheduled. This will be on Wednesday, March 4th in the library in the second floor meeting room from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And there'll be more information on that coming soon. And then finally, Monday, February 16th is President's Day, which means city offices and facilities will operate on modified schedules. So for instance, if you have your trash picked up on Monday, it will be collected on Wednesday instead. If you're in the downtown central business district, you'll receive trash collection on Tuesday, the 17th, and also on Wednesday, with normal pickup resuming for the remaining days. The recycling center will be closed on Monday to reopen on Tuesday. The library will be closed on Monday, reopen on Tuesday. And then, of course, city offices and facilities will be closed on Monday as well. And that is all I have this evening, Madam Mayor.
thank you, Ms. Beauregard. Appreciate that. Our last item on the agenda is entitled Matters from the Public. It is a time that council sets aside to hear from citizens and others about a wide variety of subjects. A copy of the Staunton City Council's Matters from the Public rules are available in paper form at the clerk's desk or on the City of Staunton's webpage. You are asked to please familiarize yourself with those rules before commenting. If you would like to speak, please come to the podium now or raise your hand on Zoom. First, give us your name and address and complete your remarks within 5 minutes. As a reminder, this is a time for council to listen. If you would like a response or a follow-up to your comment, please speak with the city manager, Leslie Beauregard, or one of us following the meeting. If you would like to speak during matters from the public, please approach the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
Hi, my name is Grace Schuler. I'm actually a resident of Waynesboro, but I wanted to talk to you guys about some concerns that I have. Just tonight, you all met with a group and talked about the Veterans Memorial at the new courthouse. I want to share that I want to thank any veterans or anybody who served for our nation to protect our freedoms. And I want to say that I'm in full support of the memorial and I have no issues with that. My only concern is that some of the community members desire to remove existing memorial plaques from the historic courthouse in Staunton. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that if you did not already know. Removal of these plaques would not only damage the historic materiality of a registered historic resource within Staunton, but will also carry on segregation and underrepresent those who served from our communities in Staunton, Augusta County, and Waynesboro. These plaques do not include everyone who served, but more importantly and specifically, the next time you're at the courthouse, take a look. The World War I memorial there is segregated. Moving this plaque would carry forward a history of racial segregation. Our veterans and our community deserve to leave segregation in the past. I ask you all, the council, to seriously consider the removal and reuse of those plaques. And I just want to thank you for hearing that concern. So thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Knight, do we have a hand raised?
We have no hands raised.
Good evening, Mrs. Miller. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you here.
Dr. Mary Miller, 471 Albemarle Avenue. First, I want to express my gratitude to you, the entire city council, who always show up. You boost my morale and you motivate me to try to do more. A meaningful experience was at the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, where Mayor Edwards gave a thoughtful and empathic tribute. The presence of all the city council members on the dais with her showed your solidarity, strength, integrity, and caring. This weekend, I drove to Aiken, South Carolina. I'd lived there for 4 years, for the funeral and celebration of the life of the most loving, gracious, intelligent, and generous woman I had ever met. Beverly Clyburn had a 40-year career in education as a math and science teacher and as a director of the guidance at 2 high schools. She was active in numerous charitable organizations, 2 of which she incorporated. She was on many governing boards, and in 1988, she was elected to the Aiken City Council, where she served for 23 years. The city honored her by naming a park, the Beverly D. Clyburn Generation Park. She was married to South Carolina Representative Bill Clyburn for 62 years and had 3 children. It was my good fortune to be her friend. She enriched and added meaning to my life, as she did to so many more. I spent the weekend in Aiken with many of the people I had worked with during the 4 years I lived there. Only one of them was white. Being included in diverse and racial and ethnic communities has broadened my life in a myriad of ways. I stayed with Eugene White and his wife, Melinda Johnson, PhD, both volunteers in many organizations that benefit the Aiken community. Sunday, Eugene was a recipient of the Community Human and Civil Rights Award at the Martin Luther King celebration. He was president of the Aiken NAACP for 8 years. Melinda teaches sociology at USC Aiken. Sorry to say, I really don't know how to express myself in these tragic times, so I've chosen to read Maya Angelou's poem, And Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like the hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard? You may shout with me your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I hear the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Mr. Knight, do we have a hand raised on Zoom?
We have one hand raised.
Thank you. Hello, caller?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hi, this is Deborah Kushner. I'm a Staunton City resident. Wanted to thank the residents and the city for the huge snow and ice removal effort, huge and ongoing. And I visited the warming shelter several times and was so heartened by the effort to give comfort to our neighbors. May that continue. Thank you all for your presence at the Mary Baldwin University MLK Junior concert, which was an amazing, huge, heartfelt program. And now on to our city contract with Flock that ended on January 8th. But after that date, the data transparency portal continued to tick up the number of photos taken. I suggested covering the cameras until they were removed, but I got no response. And I heard that the cameras were to come down the Friday before last, and they remained. I heard that they would be removed this past Monday, and they remained. And this morning I heard that the cameras had been taken down, but then I saw the Commerce Road camera remained. Has it been removed? I will find out tomorrow. Flock is a very persistent and pesky entity at best. A small group of concerned residents can make a big difference. And after consistent lobbying of the city from last July until the cancellation of the contract, December 19th, residents educated one another and our governing officials about the nefarious Flock Safety Company, Flock's ties with Peter Thiel's Palantir, and Flock's plans to dramatically and quickly increase surveillance on each of us. Had the plan to do business with any mass surveillance company, and especially the notorious Flock Company, been made public, much time, effort, feelings of disappointment, surprise, and betrayal stemming from the secretive planning could all have been prevented. Infringements on Fourth Amendment rights are no small matter, particularly in our ever-increasingly repressive climate. Warm and fuzzy Super Bowl commercials can't mask the fact that all of us are targets of mass surveillance. And yes, automated license plate readers are a tool, but their harms heavily outweigh the benefits. Residents must remain vigilant to current and future infringements on our rights. I sincerely hope lessons were learned. The public absolutely must be part of the conversation. Mass surveillance may not be as easily halted the next time. I support a city ordinance that bars any mass surveillance. This is no small matter. The public cannot afford to rest when our privacy, rights, dignity, and truly our lives are all at stake. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kushner. Mr. Barmer, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Aaron Barmer. I live at 204 East Beverly Street. I too would like very much to thank the public works workers, the fire and rescue, police dispatch, and everybody at City Hall who has coordinated to get as much of this snow out of the way and to make sure that residents of Staunton can get back to normal as soon as possible. Certainly a big job, a lot to get done. I live downtown. I was pleased to see the coordination And I was thankful to see that members of city staff were out and about, driving around, walking around to see that things were taking place, and were responsive throughout that. So thank you very much. Another thing, but I believe in, giving you an attaboy when you deserve it. So attaboy. I recognize the care and deliberation with which you made your statement at the top of tonight's meeting, Mayor Edwards. And on behalf of the council, I think that is a good place to start. And it needs to be understood that that statement needs to be followed by persistent, transparent, and continuous action that is modeled on, the headlines and is responsive to the people that live here and that are communicating with you. Can't be weeks, can't be months, can't be sitting on your hands. Things are happening fast and y'all need to respond. But thank you for demonstrating that you are listening. I'm glad that building up on the curve up on Beverly could get put to good use. It's sad to see it sitting there like that all this time. If it can put some seniors into some affordable housing and put some life on that corner, that would be really great. Hopefully that can get done easily. That'll be a good fit for Staunton, hopefully. Lastly, I would like to suggest that anyone who gets would like to replace any of their media time, instead of scrolling or just going through your usual routine, there is a website that's been around for a long time. It's basically a free public domain library. It's called LibriVox.org. LibriVox.org. It's got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of books, and recordings of books of very old origin. And one that I finished today was especially pertinent. So it really pleased me for council to begin today's meeting with its remarks. It's called The Anti-Coup. And I think now more than ever, people who are concerned with current affairs coming from the federal executive, particularly if you are of the political persuasion that know you're going to get stomped on in these upcoming elections, and it's going to be, the political party that you don't like in charge the next time around. You should be especially motivated to have democratic practices with the other side that you don't like ready to go too, because the purpose is not football out here, folks. The purpose is the defense of the Constitution. The purpose is upholding democratic norms. And without practice about how to do that, without knowing what we would do if, heavens to Betsy, the Chinese or the Russians came and tried to get us, we'd be cooked. Too much internal division. The book is called The Anti-Coup. You can find that on LibriVox.org. Just took me a few hours to listen to it. Crucial, important listening.
Thank you, Mr. Barmer. Mr. Knight, do we have a hand raised on Zoom?
We have no hands raised.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Randy Hamblett. I live in the West End, and I'm just going to add my congratulations to the city. But I meant to write a letter back in the fall, and I didn't. But I want to congratulate the city on 3 items. One is the paving and street improvements of last year. As we all know, streets in town have been kind of beat for a while. It was handled, it was coordinated well with the contractor, specifically West Beverly, Frederick Street, the Green Valley section, all of them had been torn up for gas line repair. The city was able to coordinate all that, so thank you very much. The second thing I wanted to comment on was the close relationship between SWEBA, the Staunton West End Business Association, and the City Council. I've lived on the West End for 40 years, and I love it. And we're just glad that we're making some progress. We're an important contributor to the city's economic health. We hold a lot of the middle class and lower class residents, and we feel more important now than we have in a while. So thank you. The other reason I'm here is to kind of defend you. I've never been on Facebook. I've never sent a tweet. I was on LinkedIn for about 3 months, about 6 years ago. But I can occasionally look at Nextdoor, and I saw a lot of complaints, as people are wont to do in online posting, and about the city's response. And I totally disagree with it. And we all did the best we could. It was an unusual storm, 3 inches of snow with 6 inches of sleet. It was immediately a glacier. So we all struggled. As citizens, we have a responsibility. Keep our mailbox clear, keep our sidewalks clear, and try to clear the entry. I know that was a big issue, that a lot of people got plowed in after they had cleared out. I can't offer any suggestions, but it's part of my responsibility as a citizen to either do the work myself or hire somebody. So that's just my opinion. So thank you. And I wanted to elevate the public works a little bit, because I think someone mentioned earlier, first responders and public works. And I feel like they are first responders. I read they had repaired 9 water leaks during the cold snap. When that happens, maybe the fire department comes and pumps the water, or the police direct the traffic. But it's the public works guy who's down in the pit stopping the leak in waders. And so thank you all. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you, Randy. Good
Thanks,
to
sir.
see you here. Do we have a hand raised on Zoom?
Yes, we have one hand raised.
Hey, hello, caller? Hello, caller, can you hear me?
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
An echo. My name's Mark Hopp. I'm live on Hilltop Drive in Staunton. And I did want to thank the city council and the city for the snow plowing job they've done. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. In recent news, according to the Guardian's February 10th, 2026 article, quote, police departments across the country in the U.S. are quietly leveraging school district security cameras to assist in Donald Trump's mass immigration enforcement campaign. Multiple law enforcement agencies have acknowledged doing the searches to help the Department of Homeland Security. It also stated, quote, the data raises questions about the degree to which campus surveillance technology intended for student safety is being repurposed to support immigration enforcement. In related news, Kmart in Australia has been found to be using facial recognition technology against the current Australian law. Some grocery stores in the state of New York have been using facial recognition. China has been using robot police officers for traffic. The British government announced that it wants a 5-fold increase in facial recognition technology, as well as a digital ID for everybody. In related news, let's not forget how using these artificial intelligence systems, and this is key, these artificial intelligence systems feed the need for massive data centers that suck the life, water, and electricity from our people. So every time we use one of these systems, we need to think about we're adding to the likelihood of getting more data centers. And if you take a shortcut, you'll always end up with problems down the road. This is a case in point. We don't need more data centers. We don't even need artificial intelligence. I think we're functioning okay without it. Virginia has more data centers right now than any other state in the U.S., mostly in the Northern Virginia area. To my conservative Republican colleagues, we must understand that while the ICE issue may not be affecting us directly as U.S. citizens, this example is proof of how these surveillance systems can and will be used in the event the government disagrees with whatever you are doing. Another COVID lockdown? For your safety, you'll have to stay at home as per Governor Spamberger's or the next Democrat president's rules. Thinking about opposing the current state administration's goal to make abortion a right enshrined in the Constitution? You'll be watched as you go to any rallies. These surveillance could capture your images at controversial rallies, and the data gets leaked to the public and your employer, or you simply get kept. It simply gets kept for suspicious activities should you be in the wrong place at the wrong time when violence occurs. Many people have been charged with things that they did not do and have had to prove their innocence, costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars, missing job opportunities, and tons of stress, myself included. Like to push the limits of your Second Amendment rights, my Republican colleagues? That goes against what the current Virginia administration wants. Let's not forget that license plate readers have been used to monitor political rallies right here in Virginia, and there were even plans between the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the California Police to do the same at gun shows. Those are just a few of the examples that we know about, but I'm sure there's more. Let's be clear, this is not and should not be a partisan issue. Mass surveillance threatens everyone's future, and if we don't rein it in now, it will be normalized over and over as the technology becomes more invasive to our privacy. Where is your line in the sand when it comes to how much surveillance is too much? I can tell you, like a cancer, it will never stop growing. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Mr. Knight, do we have another hand raised on Zoom?
We have no hands raised.
All righty, well, this meeting in the Staunton City Council is adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming.